Good day, everyone. I'm Baby MP Boar, a third year BS Ed Math student, and today I'm going to discuss to all of you a new topic in MCE1. Good day to our MCE1 instructor, Mama Raniela Argente, and hello to all my classmates in this subject. We are living in a society composed of diverse groups, each with its own unique perspective, backgrounds, and experiences. So, in order to foster understanding, cooperation, and unity among groups, it is important to explore and embrace the concept of intergroup dynamic. And today, I'm going to discuss to all of you about intergroup dynamic in school. In the context of our school community within our diverse student body, we encounter various groups based on factors such as cultural backgrounds, academic ability, interest, and more. But before I'm going to start my discussion, I have something to show to all of you. So, what can you say about this picture? Yes, as we exist in the environment where there are different people, diverse, we sometimes do this in order to fit in. This is just one of the example of our topic for today. It is important that we understand how to properly behave, knowing that our society composed of different people. So now, let me proceed to my discussion. Intergroup dynamics. Intergroup dynamics refer to the behavioral and psychological relationship between two or more groups. These includes perceptions, attitudes, opinions, and behaviors towards one's own group as well as those towards another group. In some cases, intergroup dynamic is pro-social, positive, and beneficial. For example, when multiple research teams work together to accomplish a task or goal. So, intergroup dynamic is all about how different groups interact with each other. So, these can involve a range of behaviors, attitude, and perception both within one's own group and towards other group. So that is intergroup dynamic, the relationship, the interaction of one group to the other group. So let's proceed to intergroup conflicts and reduction. According to social identity theory, intergroup conflict starts with the process of comparison between individuals in one group to those another group. This comparison process is not unbiased and objective. Instead, it is a mechanism for enhancing one's self-esteem. So, yung intergroup conflict ay it begins when individuals start comparing their own group to the other group. This comparison is unbiased, meaning it is biased. Ang mga people, they naturally want to feel good about themselves. And one way to achieve this is through positive social identity. So this is derived to a large extent from the social group to which we belong. If we perceive our group, the in-group, to be superior to others, the out-group, our self-esteem get boost. This comparison process often leads to bias in favor of the in-group and at the expense of the out-group, of course, which can result in intergroup conflict. So, for example, let's consider two cultural groups living within the same country. So, we have Group A and Group B. So, member of Group A might start comparing their own customs, tradition, and achievement with those of Group B. In order to boost their self-esteem, they might start believing that their own customs and traditions are superior, leading to a bias in favor of their in-group. They might start viewing Group B in a more negative light, leading to potential conflict between the two groups. So, this is how social identity theory explains the genesis of intergroup conflict. In the process of such comparisons, an individual tend to favor the in-group over the out-group. This means that individuals often show a preference for their own group, the in-group, over the other groups, the out-groups. For example, in a school setting, the student might favor their own class or their own club, or they favor students from their same cultural backgrounds over other when it comes to competitions or collaboration. So, next is exaggerate and overgeneralize the differences between the in-groups and the out-group to enhance group distinctiveness. So, this refers to what we call this the tendency to overstate the differences between one's own group and other group. For example, a student might believe that their own sport team is superior to other even if the actual difference in the skill levels are just minor. So another example, an individual might believe that their own cultural traditions are superior to others, even if there are similarities naman or shared aspect. So next is minimize the perception of differences between in-group members. Yes. This means that individuals often ignore the differences within their own group. For example, students in a particular class might ignore or overlook their individual differences in order to present a united front to other classes. Another example, within a cultural community, people might emphasize their shared tradition and values while ignoring individual differences in beliefs or practices. So, the last one is remember more detailed and positive information about the in-group and more negative information about the out-group. This refer to the tendency na nare-recall yung mga positive information about one's own group and mga negative information naman about other groups. For example, a student might remember all the times their own team won and forget about the losses, while only remembering the times other team lost. So another example, an individual might remember all the positive aspects of their own cultural traditions and ignore the negative ones, while focusing on the negative aspects of others' cultures or of others' group. So now, let's proceed to types of intergroup relations. So let's start with assimilation. Assimilation occurs when one group discards its identity and adopts the values, beliefs, language, or culture of another group as a way to fit in. So, assimilation happens when one group adopts the characteristic of another. For example, a student from a different cultural background might adopt the language and custom of the majority culture at their school in order to fit in. For example, in our class, we have these students from Barobo, Marihatag, in which their dialect is Kadi. Knowing that they are studying here in Tandag, they adopt tandaganon in order for them to fit in. So now let's proceed to pluralism. Pluralism occurs when each group retains its identity while peacefully and respectfully existing with the other group. And for pluralism to exist, the minority or the subordinate group must be accepted by the majority or the dominant group and fully participate in the majority or dominant society. So, yung pluralism, this involves different groups coexisting while maintaining their unique identities. For example, in diverse school, various cultural or interest-based club might coexist and be respected, even as they each maintain their unique traditions and activity. Like a student from a specific group or from a minority group keep or maintain their unique tradition, culture, while also participating in the cultural activities of the majority group, knowing that it is a diverse school. So that is for pluralism. Let's proceed to amalgamation. Amalgamation occurs when two different groups combine to form a single group with shared values, beliefs, culture, language, and so on. For example, when people from different cultures marry and create families that combines tradition from both cultures. So that is amalgamation. Amalgamation. Another example in school setting. Students from different cultural groups come together and form a new group with shared values, beliefs, and culture. These can occur through collaborative project, cultural exchange program, or joint activities. So now let's proceed to segregation. Segregation occurs when one group, typically the dominant group, creates a physical separation between themselves and another group. Okay? Ito is nag-involve ng mga designated areas or behavior for each particular group to ensure that there is limited or no intermingling. So, for example, if a school has separate area where different group of people are expected to spend their free time, this could be a form of segregation. So, another example, the racial segregation in United States during the early and mid 20th century, where black and white people were separated in school, buses, and even drinking fountains, is an example of segregation. So now, let's proceed to expulsion. Expulsion occurs when one group, typically the dominant group, forces another group to leave a community, region, or country. So, yung expulsion, it involves one group forcing another to leave a certain area. For example, in a school setting. So, group of students bully another student. For example, that student they bully came from different cultural background. So, they are saying to that student that you don't belong here. You need to leave in the school just because that person is different from the majority. So, this could be seen as a form of expulsion. So, next is genocide. Genocide occurs when one group, typically the dominant group, tries to deliberately destroy another group. Okay. Itong si genocide. Genocide refers to the deliberate destruction of a group. This is an extreme and violent form of intergroup conflict. This could involve killing, and other violent acts. So, those are the type of intergroup relation. So, let's proceed to superordinate identities. Under the contact hypothesis, several models have been developed. A number of these models utilize a superordinate identity to reduce prejudice. That is a more broadly defined umbrella group or identity that includes the groups that are in conflict. By emphasizing this superordinate identity, individual in both subgroup can share a common social identity. So, ano nga ba yung contact hypothesis? So, yung contact hypothesis, it says there that by promoting contact, it reduces prejudice. So, sa contact hypothesis, may mga models na na-develop. And one of those is the superordinate identities. So, superordinate identities refer to the broader identity that encompass multiple groups. These can be used to reduce prejudice by emphasizing shared identity over group differences. So, when we have various fruits in a table, so we have apples, grapes, guava, and other fruits. So they are different, but their superordinate identity is all of them are fruits. So, for example, in a school, so student can develop a sense of belongingness to the same school community, emphasizing their shared identity as a student. So one way to reduce prejudice is by emphasizing a superordinate identity that includes all classes, clubs, or cultural groups within the school. So let's proceed to interdependence. There are also techniques for reducing prejudice that utilize interdependence between two or more groups. That is, members across groups have to rely on one another to accomplish some goal or task. So, interdependence involves groups needing to rely on each other to achieve goals. This can also be used to reduce prejudice. For example, a school might set up a project that requires students from different classes or clubs or different cultural backgrounds to work together, encouraging them to see each other as collaborators rather than competitors. So this is interdependence. This interdependence promotes cooperation, of course, understanding, and breakdowns of barriers. So that's all. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something today.